talking about what matters most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Now, welcome in. It is Friday before Thanksgiving Day week, and man, oh man, things are, well, they're getting kind of interesting, aren't they? They're kind of slowing down. Seems like to me I saw fewer people on the road this morning, which was kind of interesting, right? That was interesting. But I feel like the news is in a cycle where it's just not going to stop. And we've seen that lately over the last 2 years. And I tell you, that's why I think today's might even knock your socks off. They don't sleep at the White House these days.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now today's Big Three.
That's all they used to do. If you remember, Biden spent a lot of time upstairs asleep. Not so. Then the president doesn't sleep. The staff doesn't sleep. And boy, I tell you, the reporters, sure, they can't get any sleep these days. The news never stops. Neither do we. That's why we thank our friends at Heartland Home Mortgage for helping us keep this train on the tracks. If you're looking for help with buying a home, refinancing, home equity line of credit, Dave Galloway and the team can help you get there. They've helped us and so many others that listen to this program, saving thousands each and every time we've worked with them. And man, we couldn't be happier. Reach out to them today at hhmlending.com.
Number one.
President Trump on Thursday suggesting several Democrat lawmakers be punished by death. Well, that's the punishment for treason, right? Seditious behavior, punishable by death, he posted on Truth Social. Well, this is after they encouraged troops, the military, folks in the intelligence community to disobey orders. Now, they say illegal orders, but, that's where you really have to discover in the court what's legal and what's illegal. Everybody's got opinions. And at the end of the day, this move by Democrats could get people killed. One of the senators, Alyssa Slotkin from Michigan, not backing down. In fact, they're doubling down on this move. Trump is too.
Number two.
And we'll have more on this, I'm sure. This will be all they talk about all through the weekend. Meanwhile, Trump's meeting with Mamdani today. President set to meet with New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani in the Oval Office. Their first face-to-face meeting since he was elected on November 4th. Oh, I'm sure. If just to be a fly on the wall in that office, boy, that would be something, wouldn't it?
Number three.
Love to be there. 28-point U.S.-backed peace plan is in the talks right now to end a war between Ukraine and Russia, circulating amongst those in Kyiv and Washington. Volodymyr Zelensky acknowledging receiving the recent draft. Now, there's lots of key things inside of it that would have him giving up much. I don't know that he's going to be happy about it, but they are in a position where they need to end this thing, and the president has been pushing for that for quite some time. Up for ending yet another war. He's ready. But again, as I said, the news never stops. The work doesn't either. And that's why we keep this show rolling right along. If you want to join the program, you can at any time. We'd love to have you on for a free for all Friday. Join now.
This is America.
It's Free for All Friday. Talk to Justin now. 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
You can also use the iHeartRadio app, that little microphone button where you tap to sound off, rant, rave, ask a question, whatever it might be. Let us know and let it rip. Love to hear from you. Get in and make it happen. Big week here, not just across the street. Well, across the country, but across the street as well, in our own backyard. From West Michigan to Lansing and all throughout the Mitten. In fact, we just saw last night they wrapped up, I think, some of the candidates for governor and the Republican fundraising efforts that they had. The last debate happened I think, Traverse City last night. Kyle Olson with us. I streamed it over to Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news. Kyle, good morning. Welcome in. Appreciate you being here with us.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Anything stand out for you last night in that debate? I guess I probably should start things by asking.
No. To be honest, it's just I don't. This is the challenge with these primaries with a large amount of people is they all generally believe the same thing,
and they kind of sound the same.
How do you separate yourself as a candidate? And then, of course, the person that people say is the front runner wasn't there, and so John James has not appeared at any of the three of these debates that they've had. So there was not a whole lot that was memorable. We did some interviews with the candidates afterwards, and we'll be posting those later at the Midwesterner and on our X account, et cetera. But one of the things that I think that was one of the questions that was asked was, this is going to be, name ID, having voters know who you are, where you stand on issues, et cetera, is critically important. And how are you going to separate yourself from a Jocelyn Benson or a Garland Gilchrist or a Mike Duggan, et cetera? And there was not. I don't think the candidates. Some of the candidates fully understand just how difficult that is to get your name out, to get your policy positions out, and why people should vote for you.
This is a little early to have the debates, to be talking about it, but also for these folks to be able to differentiate and pick up some steam, get name recognition, because that's a big part of this. That's part of what this whole thing's going to be about. And then you've got Jocelyn Benson out there who, again, you said willing to do, and she is willing to do anything and everything she can. In fact, there were stories about this week at the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news. One of those candidates asking the DOJ to step in, Eric Nesbitt, saying, you got to come in and look at what's happening with these, because there's no way we can let her oversee her own election. That's the Katie Hobbs playbook right out of Arizona. And you're going to see, if you thought 2024 and 2020 was a mess, get ready for what's coming down the pike here in 2026, because she will stop at nothing. And I think that's one of the biggest differences between Republicans and Democrats right now. We said it before, but again, I think it's worth repeating. Sometimes it feels like folks on the right don't want to save the country as much as folks on the left want to destroy it, or as Obama said, fundamentally transform it.
Right. And what I have been saying, and I've said it to you, I don't believe she is going to allow Mike Duggan on the ballot. All of the talk is that it's going to be a three-way race. And I believe she knows that if she allows Mike Duggan on the ballot, she loses. And the Republican has a very good chance of winning. And we have seen in 2024, there was a progressive candidate who wanted to be on the ballot, and she wouldn't let him on. RFK wanted to be off the ballot. She wouldn't let him off the ballot because she believed that would take votes away from Trump. She is very, very political. And now she is, as you said, she's the Katie Hobbs of Michigan, where she wants to go from Secretary of State to being governor, running and winning governor. And so she is going to, at this moment, she's going to oversee her own race. And so Nesbitt and other senators asked and representatives asked for the DOJ to monitor what's going on, because if she can manipulate the ballot and keep a competitor off, then she's going to try and do that, because the polling shows, this is interesting, the polling shows that right now she gets 72% of the Democrat base, that's very low. I mean, generally you want to be in the low to mid 90s. Obviously the higher the better. But you really need to be, if you're below 90, you've got trouble. She's at 72. And then when respondents found out that Mike Duggan is a Democrat, her Democrat base goes to 60%. So she's only winning 60% of Democrats. There is not, in that scenario, there is not a path for her. And so if she puts him on the ballot, she's going to lose.
Kyle Olson, the Midwesterner, Midwesterner.news. We'll stay in that same sort of neighborhood, but also talk about another big story that's been getting a lot of attention over at the Midwesterner and rightfully so throughout the state right now, these data centers. Lots of pushback happening from communities that are just against having these things come in. And boy, Jocelyn Benson's husband, right smack dab in the middle of one of these fights, maybe one of the biggest in Saline Township right now.
Yeah, so her husband his name is Ryan Friedrichs. He works for a company called Related Companies. One of their companies is Related Digital, which is the company that is trying to put this data center in. And this is, this is reminiscent of what happened in Green Charter Township in Goshen. The local community doesn't want it. So the big question is the state of Michigan going to come in and force the local community to accept something like this? The Green Charter Township residents won. This is a little bit of a different situation because when it comes to these green projects, the state it's up to the state whether or not it's going to go there. And so they were very clear that they didn't want this. In Kalkaska, there's a similar situation. And the local community was so opposed to it, the company itself said, "We hear you. We're not going to build here." So the local residents had a victory in Kalkaska. There's lots of questions about whether or not these data centers are good policy. What impact do they have on energy rates, on water usage? All of those sorts of environmental issues, which is interesting because the Democratic Party has sort of fancied itself as the party for the environment. We didn't see that in Green Charter Township. They, just sort of looked the other way about the impact on water usage and everything else. And now it seems like they're doing that again with these data centers. And so they're looking at sites all over the state to try and push these through. Jocelyn Benson, she's actually been put on the spot about, is your husband going to continue to work on this if you happen to be elected governor? And she's had to answer for that. But these data centers are the hot new thing, and this is what local communities are going to be facing now.
Kyle Olson, the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news, the founder there, and bringing you the stories that matter most across the state, but also the country as well. Anything else you guys are working on right now that we should be aware of or keep a lookout for on the website?
Well, I think, there's obviously we're heading into the holiday season, but things are still, the news doesn't stop, as you say. This Alyssa Slotkin story where she posts a video basically calling for the deep state to rise up against the Trump administration. And then he calls that out. And then she suddenly turns into the victim. Mm-hmm. And the Michigan media is portraying her as the victim when she got this whole thing started by calling on the media or the military and the federal government to undermine the Trump policy and the Trump administration and the chain of command. And that was shocking that she would participate in something like that. It was interesting though, because she led with, "I was a CIA officer."
Isn't that
so
something?
Here you have someone who's invoking her CIA past is calling on the military to undermine the Trump administration.
Don't miss that, and I think a lot of people haven't. And folks, just so you know, even Mike Rogers could be the senator from Michigan right now. Don't forget that. That's a big conversation and one that's going to continue to happen into 2026. So I just when people talk about principles and they talk about, we got to make sure we're following the Constitution. You got somebody in there right now who's blatantly thumbing their nose at the Constitution. They don't care, and they're rubbing your face in it. Just remember that. This is something we talked about it from the beginning, and look, I just think it's worth pointing out. And again, I think this is all just going to heat up. This isn't going anywhere anytime soon. This is a well coordinated effort. This whole issue with this video, they knew exactly what they were doing. Well timed to come in after the shutdown and after the vote on the Epstein thing, which I think you'll find disappear soon too. They're on to their next thing, folks. And so are we. We've been on to them the whole time, and we'll make sure we continue to keep it covered as Kyle does the same. The best work at the Midwesterner.news. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for joining us today.
Happy to. Thanks.
You got it. And happy Thanksgiving. God bless. And I guess not a good chance to talk to Kyle next week because we're going to do Thanksgiving, and I'll be live for Glenn Beck nationwide Friday on what we call Beck Friday. Should be a lot of fun. Back with you and your calls after this. Hang on.
Asking the tough questions. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, November 21st. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. We're going to fight like hell, and they did. A proposal to build a huge data center in Kalkaska is dead. There was a plan to build the facility on state-owned land in the northern part of the lower peninsula of Michigan, but folks who live there fighting it and winning. In other news, here in Michigan, House Speaker Republican Matt Hall celebrating passage of his new plan. It will make the budget process here in Michigan way more transparent. And 'tis the season. The indoor White House Christmas tree is coming from right here in Michigan. The 25-foot tree cut down in the town of Sydney, and it will be on display in the Blue Room. This marks the first time in 40 years a tree from Michigan has been picked for the White House. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Make DeVos Performance Hall.
All right, folks, back at it. Man, oh man, what a day. We got a lot going on, getting geared up for the weekend as well. And the big week that's headed our way this next week. We'll say good morning to a few folks over on Locals in the VIP. If you haven't done it yet, time is running out. Get locked in with the Freedom Fam VIP, just $7 a month right now. JustinBarkley.com/VIP. Very good way to do that. Thank you for the folks who've already done it. Panda's in the house. Tim Gritter, Salo, Sue. Good to see you too. I gotta scroll back a little bit. Good to see you, Pickles. Michigan Joe. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I see Hemi in there too. If I did, my apologies. Please accept. Nancy is in the house. Nancy, such a time as this. History. Julianne Schmalzy. Tennisel, Jen Bowell, L. Waldron. Good to see you all in the chat today. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. And the book on the Facebookers hanging out with us. Good to see you, Tammy, Sherry, Doug, Lori, Sean, Melissa, Bruce, and folks on the tube as well. If you haven't done so yet already, please click share. It helps us get the word out about what we're doing. And, of course, the stories that they just won't share anywhere else. Isn't that something? Okay, let's get to it. Coming up, the Treasury Department, Treasurer Brandon, is this Beach or Breach? Let's see. Yeah, Treasurer Brandon Beach from the Treasury Department coming up about 9:30 today. Going to be talking about, this is kind of funny, but did you see they struck the last penny? They're done making pennies now. So we'll talk about that, which is kind of an interesting side note. Plus, there's some new things that are happening with the One Big Beautiful Bill. And yeah, you may even see a tariff check, what that looks like, and more, as markets react to all of the latest and greatest news. We'll get to all of that coming up. Stand by, folks. Back on the air. Here we go.
Christmas jazz, country, plus tons of playlists, even podcasts. Our gift to you the perfect holiday soundtrack. Open the free iHeartRadio app now and search Holiday to start listening.
Set Wood Radio is a preset now on our iHeartRadio app. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto accident attorneys. Visit autolaw.com.
That's autolaw.com.
Yeah, we told you yesterday, 7,033 turkeys in the mail trotter, Turkey Drop, Life EMS, all the wonderful sponsors, Yoda Realty. I mean, the list goes on and on. The people like you make it happen every single year. Another big record set, and we just couldn't be more grateful. Families will have Thanksgiving next week that never would have had that opportunity just because of your generosity. Fantastic. Hey, a funny story, but it's kind of wild. You know, they're done making pennies. Someone from the Department of Treasury, they're called treasurers, by the way. Brandon Beach will join us in just a little bit, talk about that penny situation, which is hilarious. I think he was actually there when they struck the last penny, which is wild. Plus, we have some things to talk about, advantages from the One Big Beautiful Bill. In fact, you may see a tariff check. We'll get details on that all on the way after this. It's West Michigan Live. Checking our bottom of the hour headlines next.
Make your smart speaker smarter. Stream us.
Okay, getting smarter now.
It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM. Woke.
All right. How many years do we have to save pennies before they are collector's items? That's a good question. I know the last penny. I saw something about the last penny or the last few they made could be worth millions. Last penny auction. Oh, here we go. Check this out. The last penny auction refers to the Stack Bauer sale of a special Omega Mark 3 coin sets. No, that's the last penny circulating from Philadelphia and Denver plus a unique 24 karat. That's not what it is. Last penny worth. Let's see if we can get it. Last penny minted worth. The last penny minted by the U.S. Mint is expected to be worth millions at auction. Now, I know it's Google AI, so, take it with a grain of salt. But listen to this. Listen to this. The final 5 pennies ranging from $2 to $5 million each. So if you're the 6th penny, you're worth a penny. If you're the 5th penny, you're worth $2 million. Talking about right place at the right time. Holy smokes. The coins are unique because they have special Omega mark, and the last one the last of the last could potentially be the most valuable. Although the final pennies will be auctioned, all other pennies remain legal tender. You can still use them, but there's some places that they're going to tell you that they don't accept pennies anymore, which is, I think, kind of a scam in itself. To tell you that, they don't accept them. Then if you're going to pay, they're going to round up. Pay with cash, they'll round up so they won't give you pennies. That's a whole nother thing. To think that we have a shortage, I don't really think that we have a shortage of pennies, but I don't know. I think, again, it's just another way for them to scam a couple of bucks. You just get a few pennies over the course of a year and all the transactions, especially with big businesses. It's and then they want to, they ultimately would really prefer that you go cashless, because it's just easier. They don't have to deal with, handling the, people actually handling the money and then taking it to the bank and all of that stuff, right? According to the U.S. Mint, there are over 300 billion pennies in circulation. Most of those are stashed in junk drawers. Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think you're right. All right, looks like he's on the line. We'll talk to him next. If we end up getting, thank you, sir. If we end up getting anybody that we need to get on the phone too. We'll do that coming up here in just a little bit as well. So stand by for that. Is that our Treasury guy? Good. That is him. Kroger is always the first to jump on the bandwagon, already rounding up. Isn't that something? I remember the coin shortage in 2020 was kind of felt like the same thing. Trump meets with Mamdani today in the Oval Office, it sounds like. Mamdani's been called out on this. He wanted to do free buses, and finally, because he's not going to be able to do it, this is one of many campaign promises that are going to just go down the toilet because the state isn't going to have funding for it. Listen to him talk around it.
And the other one, you've been talking about fast and free buses and you're meeting with the governor. I've heard you talk about many times that you don't want to take money away from the MTA. You want to put money back in. It's something that she agrees with, right? We don't want to take away money from the MTA. How are you getting that money, the $700 million to make the buses free, into the MTA if she's not for raising taxes?
I think that the two clearest ways to raise that money is through the raising of the state's corporate tax to match that of New Jersey.
So otherwise, how are you going to pay for it? He says, well, we're going to raise the state corporate tax. The governor says, no, we're not doing that.
I think that a lot of this is still a case to be made, whether it's the corporate tax or whether it's the personal income tax on those who make more than $1 million a year or more. I think that these are the clearest ways. I've also said that if there are other ways to raise this funding, the most important fact is that we fund it, not the question of how we do it, but that we do it.
It's not the question of how we do it, but that we do it. Have you ever heard a bigger load of nonsense from anybody? Well, maybe Jasmine Crockett. Are you kidding me? Absolutely incredible. Not how we do it, but that we do it. You can't make this stuff up, and yet they do. That's exactly what they do. All right, back at it, folks. Stand by. Back on the air in about 30 to 45 seconds. We've got one of the treasurers, the guy. I think he was actually there when that last penny was minted. So I can't wait to hear what he has to say about that. That's quite a historic moment, anyway. He's the one who struck the final penny, marking the end of the 232-year production run at the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, by the way. That's the story about Brandon Beach. And he was, like I said, he was there. Pictures of him holding the penny. $5 million penny. That's something, isn't it? Boy, it's something. All right, stand by. Here we go, folks. Back on the air with you. Just a moment.
Affordability matters. It affects real families, real decisions, and real care. That's why at Blue Cross, we're dedicated to finding solutions. To learn about this critical issue and our efforts to make healthcare affordable for all, visit mibluedaily.com/affordability today.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend, Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
Let me get this refreshed. Hang on. Let's see. Let me unopen this morning. We're up 200 in the Dow, S&P 22, NASDAQ 57. Lots of green on the screen this morning. Stocks rebound. CNBC says after Thursday's AI rout as the Fed's Williams revives rate cut hopes. I want to talk a little bit about that. We got lots to discuss. And then I saw this story. I thought was kind of interesting. Your 401k under President Trump doing very well. The average 401k, IRA, etc., hit record highs with the market gains here this year, according to that latest story. That's all coming up in just a moment. First, thanks to the folks powering this program today and every day. Guardingyournestegg.com, Mike Lester and the team at Talent Wealth. Hey, I know as they get things righted and, of course, getting things back on track, sometimes it can feel a little bumpy, that roller coaster ride. You don't have to get nauseous on it, though. Whether you're ready to retire today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road, you can talk with Mike and the team at Talent Wealth. They take a holistic approach to make sure that you can get to where you need to go and, of course, where you need to go when you need to get there. That's the key. They're not like everybody else. They understand that not everybody is going to need the same approach. That's why they take a customized strategy and approach to everything. Reach out today at 616-661-1000 or go online to guardingyournestegg.com and find out how you can get your retirement strategy in play. Now, your retirement strategy may not be necessarily, I'll just throw this out there, may not be a great retirement strategy to have the last penny that was ever struck at the Mint in Philadelphia. We just learned that they want to auction these things off, and the last 5 could go from anywhere from $2 to $5 million. Treasurer Brandon Beach is on with us right now from the Treasury. Matter of fact, he's the guy who did it. He was there. Sir, thank you so much for taking the time. What a unique moment in history. Must have been pretty wild to be a part of that.
Well, Justin, thank you for having me on your show. Happy Friday. I will tell you that last Wednesday was a historic day for our country. For 232 years, we've had a penny, and I was very proud to be able to strike the last few pennies, and especially the last one, and to hold that and know that we're going to auction that off for $3 to $5 million. I was honored to do it. It was a very historic day. This is just part of President Trump's common sense agenda. We're going to save the taxpayers $56 million annually by discontinuing the penny. The penny was costing us 4 cents to make a penny, and the demand had declined. Pre-COVID, we did 9 billion pennies a year. Last year, we only produced 2 billion. So the demand was going down, the price was going up, and it just made sense to eliminate the penny. Let me be crystal clear that we have 3 billion pennies in circulation, and it's still legal tender. It's not going to go away. We're just not going to produce anymore. But you can still use your pennies and have your pennies, and it's still legal tender. And I don't think we'll run out of pennies for a couple of years with 300 billion in circulation.
If they do, just check your couch cushions. I'm sure you'll find them. Yeah. Treasurer Brandon Beach with us right now, and he actually was there as they struck that. Now, it's interesting to me because you made this point. I don't think a lot of us knew that it costs that much to make a penny. And so when you talk about the common sense approach, I'm sure the president and, of course, Secretary of Treasury looks at that and they say, yeah, this really doesn't add up here. Let's save the taxpayers some money and make this, because not every penny's worth $2 million.
No, you're right. And so we made the decision. The president really made the decision, but we implemented, both Secretary Besson and myself, and we eliminated it. So it was the right thing to do.
So let me ask you about this, because obviously that's a big story. We're working through that. You just probably heard us talk about. We've seen a lot of action in the markets lately. Folks are talking about those things. The IRA 401k story I just mentioned is another piece of this. But as the president tries to get things back on track, and of course we've heard about that possible tariff check that might be coming our way. We'll ask you about that too. But a lot of this is coming out of those policies out of this administration and that one big beautiful bill as well.
Well, and you saw yesterday's September jobs report. We added 119,000 jobs in the economy. Let me say this. I was fortunate enough. I'm a former state senator in Georgia, and I was fortunate enough to be very involved in President Trump's campaign in Georgia and got to know him. And, Georgia was a swing state, so he spent a lot of time in Georgia. And it didn't take me long to figure out this guy loves our country. He loves and respects law enforcement and the military. But what President Trump really loves is capitalism. He wants you, your kids, and your grandkids to be able to pursue the American dream. And he doesn't believe government creates jobs. He believes the private sector creates the jobs. But what he does believe is we can create a conducive environment for job creation through fair trade, the tariffs, low taxes, less regulation, provide an educated workforce, and then infrastructure investment, both roads, bridges, and 21st century infrastructure like satellites and broadband and so on. And he believes if we do those 5 things and get out the way, that the private sector will flourish and we will have a golden age economy. And that's why I came to work here. I came to Washington to help him create this golden age economy and provide my grandkids the opportunities that I've had. This is a great country. We are so lucky to live here. And I think next year we're going to be able to showcase how lucky we are. It's our 250-year birthday. And we're going to be talking about American exceptionalism, American pride, and American spirit, and how lucky we are to live in this country. Some of the things you can do here, you can't do in China or anywhere else. And, I give this example. I'm from Louisiana, and I talk about this guy, Todd Graves, who couldn't get a loan from a bank to start a restaurant, so he went and worked on the oil rigs for 2 years, saved up $40,000. Now he's worth $22 billion. He owns Raising Cane's. It's a chicken franchise.
Yeah.
And he's made a lot of money. And you know what? God bless him. He worked hard. He had a dream, and he pursued it. And that only happens in America. And we're going to talk about stories like that next year in our 250-year birthday. The other thing we got going for us next year, we got the World Cup coming to America, which is going to showcase our country in 8 different cities of how lucky we are to live here. And so that's going to help us from an international standpoint to showcase what America's all about.
It's interesting timing. You mentioned Raising Cane's, and that guy takes chicken very seriously. I just saw an interview with them talking about what he does and how they get into the very specifics of the birds they use and what they do with it. It's really fascinating. But you make a good point. There is no other place in the world. As we get ready to, matter of fact, they just opened the first Raising Cane's here in our backyard just this last week. But there's no other place in the world, a treasure, where you have a dream. You don't have an Indian dream. You don't have a Chinese dream. You don't have a British dream. There's only one place, the American dream, that right. Actually exists.
And that's why I'm working so hard for President Trump to create this golden age economy. I was with him in the Oval Office not long ago, and 3 times he mentioned we're going to create a golden age economy, a golden age economy. He wants every zip code in this country to have the opportunity to prosper, and we're doing that. And we're going to give everybody the tools in the toolbox to pursue their dreams, and that's what we're doing.
I love that. Getting back on track in the common sense approach. At its finest. I think it's certainly well timed, and it's about time for it. Yes, sir.
Listen, I think President Trump's the greatest president we've had, but I can guarantee you he's the greatest jobs and economic president we've ever had. You look in his first term, he was saddled with 2 impeachments, the Russian hoax, and we were setting records, and jobs were growing, and then COVID hit. And then if you look in the first 10 months, what he's done after he inherited a mess from the previous administration, egg prices were high, fuel prices were high, and now we've had, nobody's talking about egg prices or fuel prices, and jobs are flourishing. Manufacturing jobs are coming back to the country, and Wall Street has had some record numbers. I think 7 or 8 times in the recent couple months, they've hit record highs. The economy is going to get better. We're going to make this economy affordable. We're going to get fuel prices down. Let me tell you, I think energy is the key to everything. And President Trump doesn't just want to be energy independent. He wants to be energy dominant. And when you get energy prices down, the cost of transportation for goods and services goes down. The prices for Raising Cane's goes down. The prices for lumber goes down. Everything is related to energy. And this guy understands how important energy is. And he's got Secretary Burgum and Secretary Wright working together. And we are going to be not just energy independent, we're going to be energy dominant in this country.
There you have it. We really appreciate you taking the time and giving us the latest, whether it's pennies or we're talking billions, trillions in some cases. We appreciate it, and the updates, keep them coming. Treasury there with the Department of Treasury, Brandon Beach. Thank you so much for taking
Justin,
the time, sir.
Thank you for having me. If y'all are ever in D.C., please stop by the Treasury building. There's a lot of history in this building. You would love to tour it, and we'd love to host you. So let me know.
Yes,
and
sir.
I'd like to come back on your show down the road and give you other updates. So thank you for having me, and you and your family have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too, sir. Thank you very much. Well, what a great offer, folks. I think we'd love to do that. And man, I think that would be incredible. What a great story. You know, some of some of these things, you just never know who you're going to talk to from some of these folks. That guy was really interesting. Have him back on again. Again, he was there when they struck the last penny. Who could say that? History in the making. All right, back after this, folks. We've got, we got so much to get ahead and something big from this weekend. We got 'tis the season. Got to share with you about stories that you won't hear anywhere, but we'll let you join in the conversation too after this. It's West Michigan Live. I'm Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Your news from a trusted source. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, November 21st. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Michigan Senator Democrat Alyssa Slotkin up to a new trick that has the attention now of President Trump. Slotkin posting a video with a few fellow Democrat veterans urging military members to refuse orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
We know this is hard, that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
Whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army, or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
Know that we have your back.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Now, President Trump on Truth Social writing, "This is really bad and dangerous to our country." And for the first time in 40 years, a Christmas tree from right here in Michigan selected for a very special honor. It's heading to Washington, D.C. to be put up in the Blue Room, the 25-foot tree cut down in the town of Sydney. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
All right. We are back after it, folks. Like I said, fastest hour on radio flying by. Got a little bit of an after show for you today, so we'll get into that. I just found out my buddy Dave from Party World says, by the way, the luckiest store in not just Grand Rapids, West Michigan, I think the entire state. They've sold more lottery ticket winners, I think, than anybody else. They're always selling another. Just sold another $1 million winner in the super raffle, he said. Dave said, sounds like the Barkley Show's going on the road for a road trip. I said, I wonder if I could sneak out of the treasury with one of those pennies. What do you think, huh? Nah, not a chance. Not a chance. Excuse me. All right. Hey, gas in Michigan. I will give you the latest details about this. And remember, I'm always telling you about that refinery in the Chicago area, Indiana. It's called the Whiting Refinery. They're still having problems there. That's why it goes up, down, up, down. I was just in Indiana last weekend, and it was down in 250 land, 260. Some places 280. I mean, I think you can kind of bounce around and find it in different slots. But hey, look at this. I should have seen this earlier. Look at this. They want to do a Trump coin, $1 Trump coin. Look at that. And the fight on the back. I wonder if that's real. That would be interesting. That would be quite interesting. All right. Hang on, back on the air here in just one moment, folks. Stand by. Boom, 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 boom. All right, here we go. Back after it, folks. 20 seconds.
Law.com.
That's Autolaw.com.
We got to thank you, the folks at the Good Feet store, for powering this program today and every day. The Good Feet store, making it possible. You know, you're going to be running around. The holidays are here, folks. I hate to say it, but they really stuck up on us, didn't they? The holidays are here, and this is just touch season of the hustle and the bustle, and you're going to be cooking, shopping, all those things. And why don't you do it with a little more comfort? Right? I mean, there's no need to have to be, putting your feet up in the middle of the day, resting because you thought, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can carry on. No, don't let that get in your way. Get going and stay going with the folks at the Good Feet store. That's right. You can stop by today and check them out and see what I've been raving about for so long. The Good Feet store's on 28th Street, right in front of Costco, or in Portage on Westnedge in front of Kohl's. Stop in and experience the Good Feet feeling for yourself this holiday and the rest of the year through at the Good Feet store, and you can live life to the fullest. Now, that's something to celebrate, I'd say. It's coming up, another big, matter of fact, 'tis the season, like I said. It is another big moment, folks, to celebrate, and it is time. The Wine, Beer, and Food Festival is back. It's back. Wine, Beer, and Food Festival, Grand Rapids International Wine, Beer, Food Festival at DeVos Place. Cranking up this weekend, and our good friend Don Baker's on with us right now for the latest on this. In fact, all the last-minute preparations underway. Don, so good to see you.
Great to see you too, John.
What a great celebration every year. This has really become like a massive tradition, part of West Michigan now.
It really has become the pre-holiday celebration, right? And so there's so many great things happening in the city of Grand Rapids. This festival, though, reaches way beyond. So it is an international event, but of course we love the spotlight opportunity and also on Michigan products. You're going to find both of those things very strong here at the International Wine, Beer, and Food Festival. But in addition to that, you will certainly find brands that are from across the country and over the sea.
I love that. Yeah, there's such a great, you bring up a great point. When you go, you're going to just experience so much. One of the best things about this is not just to go experience the things you like, but when you go, you're going to experience the things you've never even known about. It's just, you're going to get a chance to discover things that you just had no idea were even out there. And this is the 18th year. Is that right?
That is correct. It's the 18th annual. And I think why we are seeing the longevity of an event like this, right? Because there's many different tasting events throughout the state, throughout, the land, if you will. But what's different about this one is the amount of various food and beverage that, and then add to that we also have a lot. Yeah, 3 days tasting. It kicks off with a charity event that happened last night, and add to that then 2 full days of the public being able to come into the largest tasting room in the Midwest with over 1,000 beverages to try. And this year we have 6 pairing restaurants, 24 small plate options for people, and in addition to that, over 30 specialty and gourmet food items. So you are going to be as prepared as you could be to go into the holidays. It is just a great way to kick off this season.
So it's underway now until the 22nd, so you can get out and enjoy and see each other. The other thing that I know, we talk about all the fun, obviously, the things that you can discover.
Are you there, Justin?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Don?
Did I lose you, Justin?
I'm here. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Are you there? Uh-oh. Hello. We can hear you and see you. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but again, it's another magnificent time to get out and see people. One of the things I like about most of all is when you go to something like this, and I've done it, year after year, you get to see people that are coming back home from being out of town. You get to see folks that you haven't seen in so long, and it is fantastic. By the way, if you go to the website, you'll find out more. grwinefestival.com is the website, grwinefestival.com. There are all kinds of great celebrity chefs. Isaiah Thomas has got a champagne. You'll be able to do pairings and check all the restaurants off your list. And I mean, just get in and explore and get inspired, all just in time for the holidays. grwinefestival.com. And always a pleasure with Don, by the way. If we lost connection there, that's okay. We'll try and get back with him. If you get over there, you can say hi to Don and say hi to everybody for us. We may even see you walking around this weekend at the festival. All right, back Monday with more. It's a short week next week, Thanksgiving week. We're getting ready for it. Back after it then. In the meantime, we're wishing you the best always. Make it a great one. God bless.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, power, and glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
WOOD Grand Rapids, WOOD FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
Hey, equipment owners.
All right, folks, here we go. After show is on the road. Stand by. Let me clear this up a little bit here, and then we'll get going. All righty then. Will I be off Thursday and Friday? Tammy, I will be. Hang on. Let me address that in the podcast. Stand by. We'll do that. Good question.
Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay.
Welcome in to the after show. The show after the show. Never a dull moment, never enough time to get to it all, but that's why we made this for you, the after show. Strap in, folks. Hey, by the way, check a look at the store if you haven't. There's some great shopping opportunities coming your way. The Justin Barclay store at justinbarclay.com. We're getting into that season. Black Friday. Deals, steals, new items on the way. Just refreshing it, just putting that up in your mind just for a bit so that you can consider it. I've got a programming note I got to lay out for you, too, and some of the stories, again, that we did not get a chance to touch on today. And we will. Plus, I got clip after clip after clip for you. We got some fun stuff to play for you. And a Rona report. I should probably give you an update. It's a big story about CDC. And you were talking about making America healthy again. This is a big one. It's a doozy. So let's do that and more. All right. First, programming note. And we were just asking the chat. Great question. Am I on Thursday and Friday of next week? I am not on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. I'll be stuffing. See what I'm saying? What did you did there? Stuffing the bird and myself. Actually, I won't be doing any cooking, so you don't have to worry about that. But I'll be celebrating with the family. Then Friday, a special treat. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do the show like we do it normally, the stream and everything. But on Friday, I get to fill in again. I get the honor of filling in for Glenn Beck on the Glenn Beck program nationwide, from coast to coast and across the fruited plain. So you can listen. Now, I may do a special behind the scenes something or other for VIPs on locals. I'm trying to walk that through. But see, the deal is when I fill in for Glenn, I don't own that content. So I can't really stream it wide because it's meant, it's actually meant to be heard on the affiliates. That's about the best way to put it. The stations that air his programming. So I don't want to cheat them out of it. Go Lions, beat the Packers, Melissa says. So anyway, I just throw that out there for you, just so you know and understand how this is all going to work next week. So Thursday and Friday, there won't be a stream, most likely on Facebook or YouTube or Rumble or X, but I may be able to sneak one in. Maybe we'll sneak one in on locals for Thursday and Friday. I'll stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll have that kind of a good week, but like I said, it's going to be a little bit of a short week. So, Chase. Well, I appreciate it. God, it is an honor when I get a chance to fill in for Glenn. He's a great guy, and that program is incredible. All right. I have to, if I can. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because, again, you'd probably notice I didn't today on the show. But if I can, I have to just a little bit of a moment, if I can, on this whole seditious behavior, punishable by death truth that was shared out by the president. The reason why is that I know that you're going to have, this is going to be something that's going to be popping up for everybody. They're going to be hammering this. They want you talking about it at the Thanksgiving table. That's all this is. They want you talking about it at the Thanksgiving table. So I just want to make sure you understand what's going on, why it's going on, and why it's such a thing anyway. All right. So President Trump, he responds to the original video. Now, I don't know if you've seen the original video, but it's Alyssa Slotkin, senator from Michigan, and a bunch of these other Democrats who made the case that they believe that President Trump is issuing illegal orders. I mean, that's the only reason you would do this. They made the case that President Trump is issuing illegal orders and that folks in the military and the intelligence community should, let's just call it what it is, deep staters, should disobey orders. Now, they parse it by saying disobeying illegal orders, but we know what this is. They've never said what they believe is illegal. Now, they may say that they think it's illegal for the president to send, like the National Guard into certain places. Well, this is not for, these folks to decide whether or not it's legal or not in an order in a situation like this. In fact, the Supreme Court gets to make that decision, and they have. We're watching right now. There's a story today, and I didn't spend any time on it. I don't even know if I had it in my stack because I just looked at it and I went, sigh. There's another judge who's come out. These judges, he's activist judge, all this stuff back and forth. The activist judges come out and said, no, you can't. It's not right to, you can't be there in DC, the National Guard, we're going to kick you out. That's what an activist judge has said. in the latest case. Now, you and I both know these orders and these cases have already cleared other hurdles in other places. In fact, rising to the Supreme Court saying that this is okay for him to do it. And if I'm going to just be clear on something, if there's any place the president ought to be able to deploy the National Guards, it's Washington, D.C., folks. This isn't a tough order. This is not a tough, I guess I would say an idea to understand, okay? So let's be clear. When Slotkin and the rest of them do this, they are essentially calling for mutiny.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day
to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
Like us. You all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home.
Now, I'm going to stop it here because I want to tell you they know exactly what they're doing. None of this is by mistake. They know exactly what they're doing, and I want to tell you why this is important. Now, this is what is known as it's a logical fallacy. In fact, this is the appeal to authority fallacy. Well, they sort of rely on, particularly their base more than anything else, and they're just an average American. But it's tougher for them to pull this off against people like you and me. You're educated, well educated, not well indoctrinated. But this fallacy, this logical fallacy, they appeal to authority, and they use this all through COVID as well. But the appeal to authority works like this: they have an authority figure in this case, a number of them, saying, "Well, we served in the military." And Slotkin said, I was in the CIA, which I don't really think helps her in this case. I don't really think that's a help, because I think what you're saying really is that this is part of some sort of coup, again, in another attempt at a coup against the president of the United States, the commander-in-chief at this point. Well, what they're counting on, though, is that you look at them as authority figures, and because they said it, even without any supporting evidence, because they don't name it. They say this president, he's risking, he's issuing illegal orders, all of that, right? And but they never say what they are. They never say what exactly he's doing. What he's doing put democracy or citizens at risk or whatever claim they make. They never get into that. So Trump, he shares this article about the story, and then he says, look, it's called seditious behavior at the highest level. Each one of these traitors to our country should be arrested and put on trial. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. We won't have a country anymore. 3 exclamation points. An example, quote, and this is all caps, must be set. President DJT, he signed it. Now, I agree, because these people know exactly what they do. Now, this, you may be able to just sort of defend this. And this is just sort of political rhetoric. This is, these people are just talking. But they're not. These people are behind the scenes. In fact, they know what they're doing. It was timed specifically to come out at this moment, after the shutdown, after the Epstein vote. It's the next piece. They throw these hoaxes out there, and this could be an attack. I guess you could consider it as well. But they throw these things out there, and they've timed them well. They know exactly what they're doing with all of this stuff. They know exactly what they're doing. They wanted you talking about this at Thanksgiving, more so than anything else. They want you saying that Trump is doing all of these things. Why? There's no list of what he's done and why. It's just they've said so.
Laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
So you got a couple of them saying you can refuse illegal orders. Then you got one guy saying you must. Not only can you, but you must.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
Now, who the hell has time to figure that out and send it up to Supreme? Now, I understand there's a process for this. Matter of fact, next week, maybe we'll dig in and have somebody actually come on and describe what the process is. And you got an order you think is illegal and what you need to do. And usually that follows chain of command and have to talk about it and all of that. But this on the battlefield or in a situation like what they're describing, and in the intelligence community particularly, right? This is they talk about dog whistles all the time. This is a dog whistle saying, we got your back. We're going to run cover for you if you break the law. That's essentially what it is. They're saying, calling on all traitors. Calling on all traitors. Come on out, traitors.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army, or Navy,
the Air
It's not hard, and it's not a difficult time to be a public servant. Matter of fact, it was difficult when the Democrats had the government shut down. It's difficult when Democrat mobs attack ICE agents and federal agents. That's difficult, and National Guard members, et cetera. That's kind of difficult, but it's not really difficult any other way that they describe.
Force.
Your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
don't give up.
don't give up the ship.
So, again, somebody wrote that, somebody planned that, and somebody put that in the motion. This is not an organic video. Nothing they do is. And by the way, it's all designed to really perpetrate the narrative that the president's breaking the law. That, in fact, he's not. He has been probably one of the best when it comes to upholding the Constitution and the law when it comes to recent presidents. In fact, you saw a bunch of them the other day, didn't you? This is the thing that showed me. I don't know about you. You want to talk about what we're really facing, what we're really up against? So we could get into all kinds of theory. We can get into all kinds of, conversation about the deep state and coups and this, that, and the other thing. But you know what, more than anything, showed me exactly what we're up against yesterday? I think it was yesterday anyway. I think that's what it was. Or was it the day before? I'm looking for it. I don't see it now. Maybe I skimmed through it. Anyway, I'll tell you what I saw. Because you probably saw the same thing. It happened in D.C., and I think it was D.C., or was it? I think it was. They were all there. Mostly all of them. Trump was not. Dick Cheney's funeral. Did you see all these people coming together? I mean, it was like a who's who. Now, the Obamas and the Clintons weren't there. But there's Pence next to Kamala. Wait a minute. Is that? I could be wrong. I got to get another photo. I got to see if this is right. I don't know if he's next or if he's just back here, but look who this is. Is that who I think it is? Is anybody else? I can't be the only one. He's all the way over on the right here. Let's start over here. I got George W. Bush, Laura Bush, Joe Biden, Dr. Jill Biden, Kamala by herself, Pence, Pence's wife. And is that Hunter back there? Is that Hunter right on the right in the corner? I look, you can't, to me, you can't, by the way, do you know Trump wasn't invited? Neither was J.D. Vance to this funeral. I think this is Fauci in here. I know if I saw Fauci in the crowd. This is Al Gore. Obama's in the Clinton. They're probably afraid they might be arrested if they came. Somebody asked me in this, and I think it's a great question. Did they get envelopes passed around yesterday too? Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. I didn't see any envelopes passed around, but maybe we'll. Yeah, maybe we'll find out. Was Hunter Biden sitting there? The entire old D.C. establishment was there. They showed up for Dick Cheney's funeral. So I want you just to think about. Oh yeah, there's there's McConnell. He's there. Biden, Harris, George W. Bush, Mitch McConnell, Mike Pence. Different parties, different eras, but all the same D.C. establishment gathered in one place. Now look who didn't show up. President Trump, Vice President. The sitting president and vice president, the leaders of the new GOP, were nowhere in sight while every heavyweight of the old guard stood shoulder to shoulder while paying tribute. Symbolism matters in Washington. So do absences. This guy says, well, I don't think they were invited. But I will tell you, that shows you a lot. Look who's sitting next to Fauci. Look who's sitting next to Fauci. Is that Stephen Colbert? It must have been Stephen Colbert there at the funeral yesterday. Anyway, I make this point just to tell you, it's no mistake what happened at the funeral. It's no mistake Trump wasn't invited. It's no mistake that we're seeing this whole thing. Again, this other push, again, to say that Trump's breaking the law, etc. In fact, here's Pence. Pence spoke at the funeral with
there's almost not a day gone by in the last 4.5 years that I haven't had people in public life and everyday Americans from every background express appreciation for the role that we played 4.5 years ago. I'll always believe, by God's grace, we did our duty on that fateful day.
Who's we? Boy, that's an interesting tell, isn't it?
But when it came to Vice President Cheney, we were here for a funeral not long ago, and he leaned over next to me and just said to me in his usual terse manner, he said, "You did the right thing." And I said, Dick, I'll always cherish that, and I always will. Look, he was a man of principle. There's almost not a day gone by.
Yeah, we don't need to hear any more of that, do we? We don't need to hear any more of that. I think that's good enough. Was it Biden's birthday too? You gotta be kidding me. Yesterday? Did I miss that? How did we ever miss Biden's birthday? Happy birthday to the 46. Well, I don't know about that. Happy birthday to Biden, which is called Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. This might be a montage of the greatest hits.
If you think about the energy level, the mental acuity. The best way to get something done if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, from Charlotte, another line going from in Florida down to Tampa of Putin's kleptocracy. Yeah. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him. The idea that Los Angeles and what am I doing here? For two reasons. One, to
All right, that's just a reminder. His birthday yesterday. They didn't see any of that, by the way. They saw none of that coming. They saw none of it. They saw none of it. We just couldn't. We didn't see that, until afterwards, and then it was too late. That's what they're going to try and tell you. Yesterday, Press Secretary Karen Lovett just nailing it yesterday when asked about this video, and of course, President Trump's response to that video. Again, you just got to understand, these people hate Trump, but they hate you even more. I mean, there is a disdain for the American people. There's disdain for truth, logic, common sense, freedom, and the Constitution.
Caroline, can I just follow up? The president and the vice president, for that matter, have accused the other side of encouraging political violence. Isn't that exactly what the president is doing when he says that members of Congress should be killed?
Why aren't you talking about what these members of Congress are doing to encourage and incite violence? They are literally saying to 1.3 million active duty service members not to defy the chain of command, not to follow lawful orders.
Actually,
every single
can refuse an illegal order, which
they're suggesting, Nancy, that the president has given illegal orders, which he has not. Every single order that is given to this United States military by this commander-in-chief and through this chain of command, through the Secretary of War, is lawful. And the courts have proven that. This administration has an unparalleled record at the Supreme Court because we are following the laws. We don't defy court orders. We do things by the books. And to suggest and encourage that active duty service members defy the chain of command is a very dangerous thing for sitting members of Congress to do.
She's absolutely right. Look, I mean, this can't be more clear in my mind. And you really don't have to be a rocket surgeon to figure this out. If this was on the other foot, she was on the other foot. It's obvious.
If this were Republican members of Congress who were encouraging members of the military and members of our United States government to defy orders from the president and from the chain of command, this entire room would be up in arms. But instead, it is the other way around, and I think that's quite telling. If this were Republican members of Congress...
She's right. She's absolutely right. We know exactly what would be going on. Meanwhile, you wonder what are they trying to stop? What are they trying to stop Trump from doing? Well, there's a number of things, but think about what he's in the middle of doing right now. Trying to get a deal done with Russia and Ukraine for peace. Why would they want that stopped?
Quite a bit of reporting on the latest with Russia, Ukraine. So let me clarify and give you guys the truth on where it currently stands. President Trump has made it very clear since day one, and even on the campaign trail, that he wants to see this war come to an end. He has grown increasingly frustrated with both sides of this war, Russia and Ukraine alike, for their refusal to commit to a peace agreement. But nevertheless, the president and his national security team are steadfast in seeing this war come to an end, to end the killing and deliver on the president's promise. Special Envoy Witkoff, Marco Rubio, have been working on a plan quietly for about the last month. They've been engaging with both sides, Russia and Ukraine, equally to understand what these countries would commit to in order to see a lasting and durable peace. That's how you get to a peace negotiation, right? That's how it worked with Israel, with respect to Israel and Gaza and all of the Arab countries in the Middle East. That's how we accomplished that historic agreement, which the UN, by the way, voted to commit to and accept this week, which was a huge monumental moment.
She's so good. I mean, she's absolutely so. She's so buttoned up. She's been fantastic. maybe one of the best of all. I'm not being hyperbolic there. I really think she's one of the best. She's had some absolutely fantastic examples of what to do and what not to do in the last decade or so. I'll give her that. By the way, question about Mamdani, who's coming to the Oval today.
I think I will just add, it speaks volumes that tomorrow we have a communist coming to the White House because that's who the Democrat Party elected as the mayor of the largest city in the country.
Yeah.
I think it's very telling, but I also think it speaks to the fact that President Trump is willing to meet with anyone and talk to anyone and to try to do what's right on behalf of the American people, whether they live in blue states or red states or blue cities, in a city that's becoming much more left than I think this president ever anticipated in his many years of living in New York himself. I think I will just add, it speaks.
There you go. That'll be what we hear about and see, I guess, in the next over the weekend here. By the way, speaking of Democrat communist mayors, did you see this story? And this isn't a great story. I mean, it's a horrible story. Chicago mayor is even being obliterated by the folks that act blue right now. A strategist there over absolutely insane response to a woman set on fire. Did you see the story about the woman set on fire on the train? Holy cow. Oh, this is, I think it happened Monday, and a woman was set on fire. By the way, this guy had been 20 some odd times. Oh, it's just unthinkable. Lawrence Reed is his name. He doused a woman in fuel and set her on fire on a Chicago train. The woman burned. And as she burned, she screamed, he screamed, "Burn alive, B-word." Now, he's been arrested 72 times in Cook County and prosecuted 13. The people that set this guy free, they ought to burn. They ought to be locked away. This guy should never have seen the light of day. And you talk about the major difference between Democrats and Republicans. This is it. Democrats are unlawful. They'll say Trump has unlawful, illegal arguments and the things he's convincing people to do in the military, etc. But at the end of the day, the truth is every single policy, every single thing they stand for is all about breaking the law. They stand for and with illegal immigrants over actual Americans. They stand for and with convicted criminals, violent convicted criminals. These people get away with murder and they come back for more over and over and over again. And this isn't happening in red areas. It's happening in the blue states, the blue cities, because this is what they're all about. This man with a decade-long criminal record has been accused of setting a woman on fire on the CTA Blue Line train. The woman, 26. The suspect, 50. And I honestly don't even know how much of this I can or should show you, but this is part of the video, and it shows the fire that's, I guess, I don't know how this happened.
Hey, look at this shit.
This is about all I show you, but it's the fire, probably from the fuel that lined the street after this event took place. Oh, I can't even imagine. It's horror. It's sheer horror. It's terror. And so what is it the mayor of, oh, by the way, we've completely forgotten about the woman who was attacked, the Ukrainian woman who was attacked on the train in North Carolina. We've completely forgotten about her. And this is happening on there. Maybe this is why Mamdani wants free buses. He doused the woman in fuel, set her on fire, and the mayor has had some, just like I said, crazy comments on this whole thing. He's under fire himself for the comments that he's made that are kind of it's like they throw around that term tone deaf quite a bit.
What I can say is that as awful and as horrific as this tragedy is, this is as an isolated incident. As we continue to invest more in our public transportation system, we want people to feel safe as they ride. And so many working people rely upon our public transportation system across the city, and that's why I'm doing my part to ensure that these investments are getting right to the people, so that, of course, people can continue to enjoy.
This isn't about investment. This is about taking people who commit these horrible acts, locking them up so they never see the light of day again. Because look, when they do it once, they'll do it over and over and over again until something horrific like this happens. And it was Irina. And now it's this young woman, the 26-year-old in Chicago. I didn't even know the details of the full story on what her name was. We got to imagine she's probably riding the bus to probably go to work just to pay for. That's what Irina was doing, or not the bus, but the train. Anyway, 22 prior arrests. You can't make this stuff up. Woman set on fire. This is Chicago for you. This is Chicago. Here's another report. Oh, hang on. Are we going to get? Let me get the.
This is Lawrence Reed's most recent booking photo, the latest in a long string of lockups. We found 49 arrests, including 10 felony cases and an active aggravated battery case from August, in which Reed was accused of hitting a social worker at McNeil Psychiatric Hospital, causing loss of consciousness, 2 ER visits, and lasting memory issues, headaches, and daily nausea.
This is the whole, hey, just send a social worker. We don't need cops, just send a social worker.
The Cook County State's attorney asked a judge to keep Reed in custody until his trial for the August battery, but one judge put him on electronic monitoring before a different judge modified the monitoring hours. This is Lawrence Reed's most recent.
I just, it's never been more clear. It's never been more clear. The difference between what Democrats stand for, what Republicans stand for, the left and the right, law and order versus chaos and insanity. You can't make this stuff up. I got a Rona report. It's good news. Probably should end on this. Do vaccines cause autism? The CDC has moved from denial to doubt, the Daily Signal writes. Well, the real story here is actually more clear when we put it this way. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has updated its official website now. The information and potential link between autism and vaccines no longer ruling out the possibility of causation. Before, remember, you go to the website and they say, no, it's not a thing. And now, the Department of Health and Human Services, are updating the CDC's website to reflect the gold standard evidence-based science. HHS Press Secretary Emily Hilliard says. On Wednesday, the CDC updated its page titled Autism and Vaccines. The website now includes 3 key points. The claim vaccines do not cause autism is not an evidence-based claim because studies have not ruled out the possibility that infant vaccines cause autism. So it's actually a little more reason. They've come around with this, right? Studies supporting a link have been ignored by health authorities, and the HHS has launched a comprehensive assessment of the causes of autism, including investigations on plausible biological mechanisms. So This is big news, and I think it's a step for the folks in the MAHA movement. Make America healthy again. You talk about making an actual difference. Making America healthy again. This is how we do it. This is how we move forward, and this is what, in cases, similar situations, is what's going to move the country forward. It's not just this. It's in every single one of these moments. Look, you've got little things, little by little, people waking up and the news. A little bit of hope and encouragement for you today. All right, we are back at it again next week. It's going to be a fast one. It's going to fly, folks. So make sure you're with us. Strap in. Always a pleasure. Let's stay in touch over the weekend. If you haven't already, I get to send great things out to folks. Little heads up quite a bit. JustinBarclay.com. Make sure you go check that out. When you go to JustinBarclay.com, sign up for the good newsletter. You can get all the information that we share on a daily basis in the stack as well at JustinBarclay.com when you log in. And we can stay in touch no matter what happens on social media or anywhere else. Don't forget to browse the store. Lots of good stuff happening inside the store right now. All right, make it a great one, folks. Wishing you the best. God bless.